And one more question about arriving. Have you found everything yet? Bathrooms?
Certainly not.
Cafeteria? No?
I need a map of the tunnels.
Yeah, the Capitol Police are exceptionally good at pointing us in the right direction. So they've been wonderful, extremely gracious, and I'm always turned around. I have a bad sense of direction to begin with, but when I got here, the first thing I did was find one of the men or women in blue and said, hey, where do I go for this? And they've been great. So they're a big help for us, big help.
And you were saying that the parking lot costs more than...
Well, in shopping, my wife and I decided that we were going to live here in addition to sustain a home back in the Tennessee Valley of Alabama. And we were surprised to discover that to buy a place where you can park your car costs more than our first house. That was remarkable.
So, any of you run into former Speaker Pelosi yet?
I was actually sworn in November 16th because of a special election, and was sworn in on November 16th and met her then. And so I had the experience of serving through the lame duck session.
So many of you campaigned against her. What's the first word going to be when you see her?
My first word will be hi.
Well, what's your first thought going to be after campaigning against her so hard, which you really did?
It's not personal. She has a different ideology. It's not an ideology we share. It's not an ideology that we believe is in the best interest of America. But she's entitled to her ideological beliefs. But that's on a professional level. On a personal level, be happy to go out to lunch with her, chat with her. But we're going to fight pretty hard when it comes down to some of the basic beliefs that we have, whether we're going to be socialists, for example, or believe in the free enterprise system. Those are basic tenets, and I think everybody here who was elected on the Republican side, we have a common understanding of where we're coming from and where our country needs to go.
Well,
right. Well, I was just going to interject that I had one chance to speak with the president, and I told him that from one who is seen as being associated with the Tea Party, I want to make sure he knows that I want a civil discourse, because sometimes in the media they've portrayed 100,000 people at a crowd and one guy with a mean sign towards the president. That's not me holding that sign or any of these people. We want a polite discussion, and we disagree, and it can be very strong disagreement. And his response was, yeah, we can disagree and not be disagreeable, and I agree completely.
In fact, I read that your children would like to meet the Obama daughters.
We're still working on that. We would love to, yes.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing that we all need to remember is that politics, even though it's been really rough, is that we are all human beings first, and that it is more important for us to have civil dialogue. And that, you know what, I'm conservative, but I'm not mad about it. I can do it with a smile on my face, and we can have civil discourse, and we can realize that there are some points we are going to just disagree upon, and that's okay. But hopefully,
Senator, there was a sense that everybody had come to storm the place.
I couldn't disagree more. I could not disagree more. The idea behind the Tea Party movement is neither partisan, nor is it angry. I think it's been widely misunderstood, and in some cases, unfortunately, it's been deliberately misrepresented.
But are you going to disappoint a lot of people out there who wanted you to be angry?
No, they don't want us to be angry, Diane. What they want is for us to stand for the proposition that the federal government is too big and it's too expensive because it's trying to do too many things. It's trying to tell us where to go to the doctor and how to pay for it. It's not supposed to do that. They want that problem fixed. It's that simple. It's that free of emotion, except to the extent that they want something done.
Yeah. And I would call it concern, not anger.
Yeah.
We're concerned about the debt, and we're worried about the debt, but we're not angry about it.
I don't think we're angry, but I do think that the people of the United States have been angry, and for the right reasons. The bottom line is our government hasn't listened. Our government hasn't followed through on the promises that they made. We haven't done the things we were supposed to do. We didn't act responsibly or prudently. And the people were angry. But what they're not looking for anger now. I think one of the mandates that the people of the United States, and it's much bigger than the Tea Party. The Tea Party seems to be the face of what I would say the average American that's not usually involved in politics. And that's what you've seen in my grassroots campaign. They want us to work together. A one-party system doesn't work. We've just seen that. They want us to work together, and we have to.
Okay, let's talk substantively about what's going to be awaiting you very soon. You've got two big votes on the economy. You've got the continuing resolution on the budget, and then you've got the debt ceiling. Can I just ask again for a show of hands? This is so important to people. How many of you are going to vote in favor of the continuing resolution on the budget?
And I think we're going to, first of all, have to actually see what leadership is going to do. We weren't here to do business as usual. We're going to have to stand up. We want to see real changes, that we're going to be reducing the size of government, reducing spending in Washington, and can't speak for anyone else, but you will not be a rubber stamp for business as usual in Washington, because that is not the message that was sent in this last
appropriations
election.
need to go through committee. They've got to go through a committee process. It makes absolutely no sense to throw $4 trillion worth of spending out there and not deliberate. It's supposed to be here in the committee. You go through it and you deliberate on these things and then you vote on them. But we should have a chance to introduce spending cuts.
But coming into pledging to cut $100 billion in the first year, it's coming up in February and March. Is it going to start there? And how much are you going to hold out?
Well, I think that's just the start of where we need to reshape and retool the size and scope and cost of the federal government. You know, I think one principle that every American should agree with is that we will not spend more than we take in. Our families have to live by that.
But if the first budget that you have to approve with the continuing resolution because of historic reasons is this one, will you approve it and say then we start day after?
Well, I think it really depends on what is in